I just rewatched the introduction video that is now up. I actually just posted my second video. This is the fourth one I'm recording right now. And I thought there was an issue with the audio, so I was freaking out. I was like, holy I gotta delete it, re-upload it, etc., etc. I checked on my iPad and it sounded weird. Weird as in the volume was very low. But then I checked on my computer and it seems to be okay. So I don't know what the deal is, but these are just kind of like the little kinks you got to work out when you're first doing stuff like this. I wanted to say thank you to everybody who supported the first video. A lot of family and friends, presumably, but I love all of you, as you know, and I really appreciate everything. So yeah, it's great. So got a really good support group, and you see that you see those things when you take leaps like this, like starting a YouTube video, a YouTube channel, putting myself out there, and you see who's in your corner and who's got your back and supports you no matter what you're doing. So it's a testament to all the incredible people in my life and stuff like that. So I'm incredibly grateful, and I'm just gonna keep churning them out. I have a lot of fun with it, honestly, a ton of fun, and that's the most important thing. You know what I mean? If you're having fun with it, no matter what you're doing, keep doing it. And yeah, we'll see where it goes. Today's I mean, I could go through this notebook and just pick something and start, going. But I wanted to talk about. I've rewatched the first three videos I made several times, and I feel like a common thread kept appearing in the sense of my language, the specific words I'm using, things of that nature. I feel like I talk about risk and failure, these words with maybe negative connotations, pretty often in the first few videos, and I wanted to sort of clarify that. In life, mindset is so important, and the way you speak to yourself is so important. Obviously, the things you're saying to other people, and it tells people a lot about the kind of person you are. So I sort of wanted to clarify, what I mean when I use the words like risk and failure, and these words, like I said, that have maybe negative connotations to people. I don't look at it that way. I simply don't look at it that way. I think, I get all this motivational on on Instagram and stuff now that I'm on there, and you can't help but kind of entertain it now and again. But just going through these videos I saved, and it's like Steve Jobs and the Alex Hormozis of the world. I got some McConaughey in here. You know what I mean? I like Dan Martell a lot. Chris Williamson, I think, is the guy's name. He has the podcast. I got Ronaldo in here. You know what I mean? Like, they talk a little bit about taking risks and not maybe fulfilling your potential, quote unquote, if you don't do things like that. And the I think the common thread is taking action. Taking action is the most important thing, because I could watch all that. I could watch that stuff for hours. You know what I mean? And you're just wasting your time if you're not applying it. So, and that's another thing that they talk about. The value of time and stuff. And I've mentioned that in these videos, and everything. It all comes. It's all a spectrum. Everything comes full circle. We're all saying the same stuff. It really just comes down to taking action and learning. I mean, life is it's sort of an experiment. And I actually want to talk about this book I'm reading a little bit to that point, but it's you learn through trial and error, in my opinion. And yes, have a plan, right? Don't just let me try crack and see what happens. And if you don't like it or you like it, then you know what I mean. You decide from there. But like that's not, you know what I mean. Like, it's not that's not what I mean by trial and error. You should have some sort of direction or idea of what you're trying to achieve, and the ways in which to do that, and take those steps. And if that doesn't work, then you pivot. And that's what I mean by trial and error. So I'm reading this book called $1 Million Weekend by Noah Kagan. He's a big entrepreneur slash YouTuber. It's actually interesting. I didn't realize how early he was involved in companies like Facebook and Mint Mobile, and so he was kind of one of the pioneers to growing those companies and stuff, especially in the marketing area. But he talks a lot about risk and failure, and his failures specifically. He was fired from Facebook, I think, very early on. He was only there for, I think, less than a year before he got fired, which was interesting. And kind of, his trajectory over the course of his career and what he's doing now and stuff. I mean, he's incredibly successful. But it was interesting to me because I was kind of saying similar things to what he's saying in the book. I mean, I've only read maybe 20 pages or whatever, so I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know what what the rest of it is holding, but and it sort of inspired me to make this video because he talks about failure in a way that, I'm trying to convey a similar message. Like I said, I think people have a real negative connotation of failure. I disagree. I personally disagree. I think failure is a good thing. I think it has a positive notion depending on how you look at it. You know what I mean? Everything's about perspective in life. If you look at failure as the end of the road, then it's obviously a negative thing. But if you change your perspective, failure is it's another step in your journey. It's just redirection. People say, failure is just redirection, and that's what it is. You know what I mean? It's the opportunity to take a step back, reassess, and find a different route, find a different avenue, a different way to go. Yeah, it's interesting. I have a ton of notes on failure. And it's weird to me because obviously, I mean, I'm relatively young, and as young adults and children dating back, you're conditioned to believe certain things, right? And for example, in school, if you get an A, that's the best you can get. If you get an F, you failed. That's that. It's over. You know what I mean? You can't retake the exam. Your grade's going to drop. The number's going to be lower than otherwise if you got a B, C, D, whatever, A, obviously, and that's that. You know what I mean? Especially in school, now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you get an F on an exam and that's that. It's over. And then you got to dig your way out or whatever it may be. So I think the school systems, that we grew up in, really conditioned us in that sense. And life is not like that. Life's not that. You know what I mean? It's You fail, you have another opportunity the next day. You get fired, you find a new job, anything. You know what I mean? You sleep in one day, you wake up the next day, you get up early, you go to the gym, whatever. You know what I mean? You have a bad meal, get it out of your system, and eat some veggies. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy to me that as kids, now that I'm like, that's a crazy thought I just had, but you're conditioned to believe failure is the end of the road to an extent. It's so crazy to me, and kids who are so impressionable, they take that and run with it. And as an adult, you think the same thing. Maybe, I don't know, but I mean, yeah, I have in my notes here that failures are a rite of passage. You can word that how you wish. I don't know if that's necessarily the right way to put it, but I wrote here: how do you expect to learn if you don't fail? Failure is the best lesson. I go back to entrepreneurship a lot because it's something I'm passionate about and it's something I'm pursuing. Yeah, I mean, and this book is a testament to that. This guy who's been fired from several jobs, bounced around. You know what I mean? He was talking about sleeping on his buddy's couch early on in the book, and all of a sudden it literally says he runs like, or he has ran at one point, 7 or 8 seven-figure businesses. Through the course of his career. So I think that's a testament to not allowing failure to be the end of the road and things of that nature. So I think, yeah, failure is a learning experience. It's a lesson. It's sort of something you just put under your belt and you keep going. You know what I mean? It's a tool. It's knowledge. It's experience. I think we need to recondition ourselves. And really, like I said, now that I'm thinking about it, it's bat crazy to me that the school system kind of treats failure the way it does and conditions kids to believe a certain way about failure. So, and that's a hard thing to break out of. You know what I mean? I'm not saying failure is not a scary thing. Like, everybody wants to succeed. We're all, I think generally in life, the people I've, been around and met are pretty high achievers, which is a good thing. And that's important, of course. But just because you failed at something doesn't mean you're not achieving, what you have. It doesn't mean you haven't achieved what you want to achieve, because you still can. I think about, it's funny, my brother and I last year, we sort of went on the entrepreneurship route and started doing a drop shipping business. And that was kind of the meta, whatever people call it. But and we figured, what? Let's give it a shot. Let's see what it's about. Hop on Shopify, watch a bunch of YouTube videos. Nothing, you know what I mean? It's nothing anybody at home can't do. So not that it wasn't incredibly successful, but we learned a lot of valuable skills, valuable tools. Obviously, Shopify, setting up a website, sourcing products, the different platforms people use, watching YouTube videos, how to market on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, TikTok Shop, all that good stuff. I mean, this is, like I said, as people say, the meta. This is the future. You know what I mean? Social media, advertising, finding an audience, most importantly, finding a product, which I don't think we did the best job at. We probably didn't find something that was, a need. Nonetheless, it was a learning experience for us. We invested money in it. We did not recoup our investment, but that's the whole point. So I guess you could say it failed, but like I said, we learned a ton of that in that process. So that's the objective, right? Like the moral of the story is, because this video is probably it's getting pretty long, but reshape your mindset around failure. Don't The word has a negative connotation. Don't treat it that way. Because if you treat it as if it's a negative and it's the end of the road, you're going to be doomed from the start. Because failure, I almost say it should be an expectation. It's another step in the journey. It's just a bump in the road, and you just have to navigate around it. You have to find a different way, a different avenue, a different direction to go in, and if you look at it that way, it becomes so much easier to overcome because you're not caught off guard. You're not surprised when it happens. Your ego isn't as involved. I think that's a big thing with a lot of people too. Their egos are involved, and everybody has an ego. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think in life and in business, if you can put that aside, no matter what you're doing, yeah, you're much better off because you almost can't be hurt by whatever happens. You know what I mean? Like for example, if a guy or a girl goes up to somebody they're attracted to and they get rejected, it's a hit to your ego, right? So, but if you're the kind of person who, and I know some people like this, who just like brush it off their shoulder and move on to the next one, you get back on the horse quicker and you're better equipped going forward. You treat it as a lesson. You learn from those experiences and mistakes, and you're going to find success that much faster because you don't dwell on these failures, quote unquote, which they are. But like I said, they should have a positive connotation. So when you shift your mindset on failure, there's less shame, guilt, damaged pride, damaged ego. It's looked at as another step in the journey to where you want to get to. And because of that, you will succeed that much faster. Today today was a crazy day. We went out talking to some more potential, talking to some leads and stuff like that, and we had some great conversations. We're making progress. I think we're on the right track. So it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of work, but this has nothing to do with the topic at hand. But I was reading this book and it kind of maybe brought everything together for me, and it reminded me because I'm making these videos and it's a subconscious thing for me, and like I said, as kids we're conditioned to believe certain things, but I'm talking about failure and I'm like, man, like this is so pessimistic. You know what I mean? I'm not that kind of person. I don't want people to take what I'm saying the wrong way, and get a misconception about who I am and what my objective is by making this channel, and the goal is to inspire, and like I said, tell you guys that failure is a good thing. You know what I mean? And this book so far has conveyed that a similar message. So it was good to kind of receive validation in that sense, and say, okay, you know what? Let me hop on here. Let me make a video about it to clarify what I mean when I talk about failure and things like that, and taking risks and stuff. Yeah, this video is probably incredibly long. It's going to be edited and cut down and whatnot, but and I've got guys. I love making these. It's been really fun so far. This one's going to be long, so it's going to take a minute to edit, but I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it, and that's the most important thing. So I hope somebody's getting some value out of these, and yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see where things go. But thank you for watching. So.